Good evening. How you doing? This is Minister Pt.1 of 66 Books of Truth Ministries, and I hope you all are having a great day and that God is blessing you. And I just like to give shout outs to the Maximize Manhood class, men study, and I hope you all just have been enjoying this class and enjoying the chapters because Mr. Ed Cole has really wrote some phenomenal books for men. And also, his wife Nancy, the Unique Woman book, uh, Nancy Cole. I highly recommend that you find a church or find someone that is teaching this class, men and women, and take it. Maximize Manhood and the Unique Women class. Highly recommended. I am your instructor, Minister Peyton Moore, a faithful member of Lakewood Church under the leadership of Joel Osteen, Victoria Osteen, and John Bowman and Bruce Gibbons. So I hope you all just enjoy the class. We're going to be starting on a book called Strong Men in Tough Times by Ed Cole. Highly recommended in these times and these days that we're dealing with and going through as we go through this pandemic. As we notice, a lot of challenges have came up in the lives of men and women and families, from loss of jobs, sickness, death. There's a lot of things going on, money, financial problems, money problems, relationship problems. There's a lot of things going on, but we must be strong in these tough times. Men, I am speaking to you. Men, I am speaking directly to you. And I hope you all enjoy chapter 1 of this. It is called The Challenge. The challenges of life that we deal with on a daily basis. Okay. As I say, highly recommend this book, Strong Men in Tough Times, Ed Cole. Chapter 1 is called The Challenge. It's a story where Ed Cole was on a ministry trip on the East Coast, and he boarded a plane back home. And this was a huge airliner, gleamed on a tamarack, but inside stood rows of seats that were suited for like a school bus. So, Ed Cole, he liked to joke, he liked to have fun, he has humility in his life. So he was jostled by a neighbor as they tried to slide his suitcase below the narrow seats. But he recognized that this was a well-dressed man, and they began to chat. So the man's name was Charles, and Charles worked for a big investment company. He was an executive for a big investment firm. And he asked Ed Cole, he say, "What do you do for a living?" And Ed Cole say, "Well, I speak to men around the world. That's my occupation. And I'm also a book writer." And the man's face grew somber, and he changed his conversation and became very serious. He had to start speaking on, wow, you speak to men all across the world. And you write books and you speak to men as a ministry to help them recognize the man that God created them to be. So he got very serious, and that conversation changed. He started to worry about the things that was going on globally, economically, and around the world in societies. He had a difficult time thinking about certain things. He kind of made a statement to where he kind of felt guilty for bringing his children into this world that we're living in today and the future that is to come, because he had grave concerns of the welfare of his children and his grandchildren. Now, he regretted that, but on the other end, he said, well, maybe this is a time to where I need to stand up and be the man, to be a parent to my children, change some things in my life, slow down, focus more on my wife and my children, and spend more time in training them in an educational form and a moral form. And he also felt that it was his responsibility to do that, because sometimes we can get tied up and get so busy into our jobs and career and ministry and this and that we forget about home. Our children end up just going to school, and the school teacher become their parent. Mom and dad is working. The time that you come home is very little that you use because everybody's kind of into their own little world. You're trying to complete what you had at work. Mom is trying to complete what she had at work. The kids is trying to get their homework and they need your help, and you really don't have time to help them. And then as they become teenagers, then everybody's at the dinner table with a cell phone, so everybody's in their own conversation, their own world. Somebody's texting, tweeting on Facebook, checking the emails, and watching whatever's on the internet, so nobody's really giving no quality time as a family. So these are things that we must do as men, take back the leadership and the ownership of our families, okay? So in response to this, Ed Cole said, this is a growing concern from men all over the world, from South Africa, Norway, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, England, Mexico, and even the Philippines, and even in America. So all 7 continents have this problem. But here's a question, and here's a statement also that was made. While in each continent or anywhere in America, or any land in this world, there's a unique problem, which is underlining the moral and the spiritual decay of men and women across this world. Check this out. It says, men seem to feel uncomfortably responsible, but yet out of control. They feel uncomfortably responsible, but yet they are out of control. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, even in biblical times. You feel uncomfortable about the responsibility, but yet things are still going out of control in your life. So it goes on to talk about the dream. We all dream, and men, we have dreams of being a hero, but we don't know what it takes to be a hero. Not all of us, and few know what it takes to get there to be a hero. God created men to be leaders and heroes. Let's repeat that again. God created men to be leaders and heroes. So that's why every man dreams of himself being a hero, a Superman, somebody that can accomplish things, and you just take it over and you become this big light that people look up to. Your wife, your children, your family. Here's an example of it. Okay, bases loaded. The score is 4-5, but you got bases loaded, all right? And you have 2 outs, and wow, you only got 1 more hit to make this thing come to life. All right, because if the base is loaded, then you're going to be able to score and overscore the team that you was playing against. Now, here we go. So you want to be this hero. You get up there and you hit a home run. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we got the score. Well, you have become the hero of the game. Not only did you hit a home run and brought yourself in, you brought 3 more other people in. Or here's another example. Your wife is stranded and she needs to be saved. And here you come to the rescue to save her from this villain that tied her on the railroad track, and you save the day. Or the man that will, by any means necessary, he will go through the storm, he will go through the hurricane, he will go through the high water to make sure that his family and children have food and water. That's the hero that God wants to see on this earth. The man, by any means necessary, that will put his life on the line, not only for his family, but for God as well. Because you're going to receive persecution. You're going to go through trials and tribulations, and people are going to talk about you, and they're going to drag you through the mud. But are you willing to put your life on the line for the one who died for you on the cross? Okay? So now, every man dreams of being heroes, but something happened along the way. Yet far from living strong, heroic lives, men have scrambled to regain the sense of manhood. Somewhere along the way, what God created, man lost. What God created man, when God created, man lost. So something went wrong here. So, men try to regain this through wild men gatherings, books, lectures, new philosophies, and religions. But the only person you need to look up to is Jesus Christ, who was sent down here in human form of God to show us as men how we should live. Some intangible force has emasculated, have destroyed the manhood. That quality that seems now to linger only in history of men, as I always use people like Martin Luther King, who was for peace. But then you had Malcolm X, who said by any means necessary. At the end of the day, both of these men wanted something for civil rights to help us in this day. And they both gave their lives to their community. So we can have the freedom that we have today. But today we're still fighting. And I think today is much more of a mental fight. Mentally enslaved. You're mastered by things that surround you. So men, these are the areas that we have to strengthen ourselves. And the only way we're going to do that is by going back to God, getting in the Word of God, believing and having faith in God and trusting Him with our lives. That is the only way. Men know that some things are more important than life itself. There have been men, they have protected us, like people in the military. They are protecting us. Men and women are protecting us so that we can live the lives that we live. They have given up their family. A lot of them have given up their lives for our protection. That's why we should honor and respect them. Any man or woman that give up their life, leave their family to go away to protect us from harm and danger. Jesus Christ gave up his life for us so that we could be saved. In the quest of self-fulfillment, self-awareness, and self-gratification, masses of men have lost what it means to be a man. They have lost what it means to be a hero or a leader in their homes, in their communities, on their jobs, in their churches. Somewhere along the way, this got lost. They sold their mortality for economic privilege. They sold themselves to the love of money. And money have mastered their lives and destroyed them in many ways. Men have lost the dignity of being a person who goes to work, a producer of the workforce. Nowadays, men are talking about that they want to be a man, a father at home, or they want to work from home. They want to do this at home. Or you got a lot of men that's not working and the women is working. God put a man down here to be a leader and to be responsible, number one, to take care of his family. Nowadays, it's the other way around in a lot of cases. Now, if you can work from home and you can do that, you do that. But I'm talking about work. Because if you're going to be a person at home, especially a man, Satan has something for you that he wants to introduce to you, which is called pornography, which is called drugs, which is called alcohol, which is called depression. Because Satan has something he wants to introduce to you when he can isolate you into your home. He can bring things to you through the internet, through television. Okay? It's very frustrating that men have succumbed to this. And they have lost their manhood. And they have fell into these ideas of immoral things in life, illegal things, unethical things in life, irresponsible actions in which occur. Right now, this world is crying out for strong men who will overcome these drifted philosophies and bring order and hope back into their lives, bring hope and order back into their marriage, into their families, into their communities, into their jobs, back into the churches. So men, where are you? We need you right now to bring this hope, dignity, and order back. What didn't happen, a lot of men that got caught up in this, they pride have kicked in, and they chasing money and greed for money. And as they say in the music industry or the entertainment industry, a lot of them have sold themselves to the devil. Statesmanship has been swallowed up by political advantage. Stewardship is a major business that has devoured the men by greed. It's all about money. Apprenticeship has been scrapped by financial efficiencies. Guardianship has been pillaged by pride. Where are you, men? Why are you not being fathers to your children, to your sons and your daughters? Why are you not telling your son or daughter that you love them? Why are you not spending time with your son, showing him things at a certain age that a man is capable of doing? Work, cutting the yard, changing the oil, trimming the yard, some manual labor. Everybody is not going to be a rapper. Everybody is not going to be a NFL or NBA or a baseball player. Somebody got to get out there and dig the ditch. Somebody got to know how to operate that tractor, do plumbing or electrical or AC work. Somebody got to know how to cut that yard. So if you're trying to keep your son's hands from being dirty, man, I have another message for you. I might want to check you before you wreck yourself and your son. Okay? Today's world is progressing in technology, but regressing in moral and spiritual ethics. Fathers who try to develop their children to be good citizens, to obey the law, to exhibit good integrity, and behave morally, they are very disgusted with these people who want to go against that. Because we're trying to teach our children to have respect and honor. But you have a certain part of society who tells you to go against that, be disobedient and rebel, and subliminal seduction of the mind takes control, and the children start to rebel and disobey authority, people in leadership. So there's something wrong. Because all this have been overtaken by this hateful filled music with these crazy lyrics. And you got young men and young ladies on the streets right now. They have better weapons than the policemen have. The drug and gang violence has taken over. Parents, men and women, as parents, you're teaching your children to disobey the government, to disobey authority. Now, when I'm talking about disobeying, I'm talking about, you know that your child has done wrong. You know the lifestyle your child is living. You know that your child is out there selling drugs or in a gang. You know that. But as soon as the cops or somebody rough them up, then the cop is wrong. Then it becomes police brutality. I'm not afraid to speak. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. So we better start distinguishing and figuring out what your son is doing out in those streets before you jump the gun about that someone killed your child. I would rather for my child to be killed in the military than my child to be killed on the streets by some gang member or being shot by a cop. Now, if he was in the wrong and he pulled a gun on that cop, well, it's no way I can justify that if they have the proof that it happened that way. Because your child should not have been out there selling drugs, number one. They shouldn't have a gun, number two. And they shouldn't be pulling it out on a cop or anyone, or robbing or stealing anyone, or even a regular citizen. Because if they pulled it, believe me, if the other person had one, they're going to kill them. Or somebody's going to get killed in that. So society is teaching people to rebel. teaching young men to rebel and go against, teaching young women to rebel and go against. You know, no wonder the proverb says, the good hate the badness of the wicked. The good hate the badness of the wicked. The wicked hate the goodness of the good. Americans have sunk to new lows by lying, cheating, stealing, and this is happening amongst the young people that is being taught this. So what happened to the standards here? What happened to the father in the home? Even though the relationship may have split up, but mothers, you have no right to take that child away from their father unless that father was abusive to that child, putting that child in hurt, harm, or danger, or that father was raping that child. Now there's a separation. But just because you and the father can't get along, you can't take that child out of that father's life because your feelings got hurt. And men, for you that's sitting down letting that happen, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay? So I just want to talk to you about that. And, you know, it's just a lot of things that's going on, man, that we need to get back on track here, you know. And families are being pulled apart in this world. I'm going to read this last paragraph on the subjects of the dream. It talks about politicians who call for higher standards and greater regard for family and goodwill among men are mocked by the liberal media. I'm going to just call it out like it is. Politicians who call for higher standards and greater regard for family and goodwill among men, they are mocked, they are criticized, they are made fun of by the so-called liberal media. Okay? So I guess it's okay for your child to do things out of the ordinary. Because as far as I see in the mainstream liberal media, it's always something about protest and rebelling for something that our great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers have paid for. So, men, where are you to be there for your children, to support your children? I expect to see you, as you take this class, take this mind that you have, and I expect to see you grow and expand to be the man that God called for you to be. So this is part 1, which is called The Dream. It started off with the challenge. So we did the challenge today, and we did the dream. So we will pick up on part 2, which is the strength, on page 12 of the book, Strong Men in Tough Times.